Okay, thanks a lot for coming, everyone. I'm Oliver Stern, the Technology Director for TeacherMatic, and this is my colleague, Isam. We're going to be talking you through the administration functionality available in TeacherMatic today. So that consists of some key concepts, especially for those of you who might be new to administrating TeacherMatic, settings available to you as an administrator, managing licenses, which is a big part of the administration process, new and upcoming functionality, and then Isam's going to be talking you through training opportunities, CPD resources, and the rollout. Judging by previous admin webinars, we can usually get through most of this stuff in around 20 minutes. So if any of you have any questions, there'll be plenty of opportunity at the end to go over those. Okay, so before we start looking at the organization admin interfaces, it's always a good idea to just go over some key concepts. So every organization in TeacherMatic has one account owner. It's likely you. And that account owner, unless you ask our support team or ask one of us, that account owner is always the account owner. They're also the main administrator on the site, and they can give admin permissions to other members of your organization, but they themselves cannot be removed as an admin. The vast majority of you will be using email domains to tie users to your organization. I'll go over that in more detail later. But yeah, that's just something to bear in mind. Organization users are, again, usually tied to your organization via email domains. They are users within your organization, but not necessarily users who have licenses. And then of your organization users, some of those will have licenses and will consider them subscribed, and some of them will not. And there's just a note here that all of the content from this webinar and a lot of other resources are available at teachermatic.com/onboarding. Okay, so when you registered for TeacherMatic, the main administrator, your nominated administrator, will have received an email, and that will contain that administration guide, which covers everything we'll be talking about today, if you need to reference that. And if you didn't receive that email, please contact us and we'll send that administration guide out to you. You can also access that on our onboarding page. Okay, and again, before I hop into TeacherMatic, this is the typical user creation process within TeacherMatic. So a lot of what you'll be doing as an administrator is managing users and licenses. So when we created your account in TeacherMatic, your organization account, we will usually have added your organization domain name to TeacherMatic, which means that anyone who registers from your organization will automatically be assigned to your TeacherMatic organization, and depending on your settings, will have been allocated a license or not. So the process essentially works like this. We first check the email domain of the registrant, and if it matches the conditions on your account, they're allocated to your organization. There's also another process, which we'll look at in a moment, for inviting users. So if you've invited a user, even if their email address doesn't match your organization domain name, they can still be added to your organization. And the process is very similar, no matter how the users access on TeacherMatic, if it's via teachermatic.com or if it's via one of our other integrations. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing the presentation and move over to TeacherMatic. Okay, so I'm signed into TeacherMatic as an organization admin. Most of the organization admin functionality is available through your My Account page. So immediately here, we see an overview of your organization. including the usage over time. And something we've added recently is this active users table here. So this will detail all of the users in your organization and how many generations they have made over this period of time. You can also change the month and that number will update. So this is paginated. I think you'll see 10 users on this page. You can flick through the pages, but if you export, that will export all of the users in your organization. And then further down, we have some data on the most used generators. Again, over that period of time, we selected up at the top. And we have a breakdown of your licenses. So I'll breeze over this for the time being, but we'll look at how licenses are allocated and revoked. So this is the dashboard tab of the My Account page, and you can see all the statistics for your organization, but you can also see your own statistics. I created this account before this meeting, so there's no data here. But this is the default for all of the other users in your organization. So any non-admin users can also see their most used tools and the total generations over time. Okay, so the next relevant tab, I suspect, is organization settings. So it's always worth coming here and reviewing these when you become a TeacherMatic administrator. So firstly, we have MFA for all of your organization members. This should probably be turned on. And this means that users have to receive an email, a one-time token via email before they can log into the site. It's either via email or via an authentication app. I'm sure you're all familiar with those. Then we've got these two settings. These two settings determine whether your users who register for TeacherMatic and are assigned to your organization are automatically given a license. So typically, the default settings are that MFA is on and automatic subscription on registration is also on. Typically, when you start using TeacherMatic, that's what you want. And then down here, we've also got ethical filtering. So this is a proprietary system that we've got, which filters out potentially harmful content. So there are 3 levels: strict, filters out absolutely everything, and moderate filters out the most severe ethical issues. Okay, let's head over to the organization members tab. I imagine most of the administration you do will be from this tab. And this is where you can see all of the users in your organization and their subscription status, whether they're allocated one of your licenses or not. So up here we have a summary. The TeacherMatic organization has 165 users. Of those, 32 have been allocated a license. And we have an additional 168 licenses waiting to be allocated. So in the organization settings tab, if we had automatic subscription on registration turned on, then anyone who would sign up with a teachermatic.com email address would be allocated a license. If we had automatic subscription on login turned on, the next 168 people who log into TeacherMatic and are part of our organization will be allocated licenses. So from this table, we can allocate a license using the subscribe button. We can also unsubscribe them, and we can make them an admin as well. So usually when we're managing licenses, perhaps over the summer holidays or at certain periods of time, you may wish to unsubscribe a portion of your old users. So you can either do that one by one with unsubscribe, or you can export this table, and that'll give you a subscribe column. And you can update that subscribe column for each user, or do it in bulk using Excel, and then re-import that, and it'll update the subscription status of all of these users. Something else that we introduced recently is this reset functionality. This reset functionality will unsubscribe every user in your organization. And assuming you've got the automatic subscription on login setting turned on, all of the active users who are coming back to TeacherMatic will be allocated a license when they log in. So that's really useful for kind of resetting everything once a year or however often you'd like. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible, and I think yeah, that reset functionality really makes your life easy. You know, just coming in here, hitting reset, making sure the automatic subscription on login is turned on, and then kind of forgetting about it. You can just come here and check every once in a while that all of your licenses aren't being used up. Yes, Angela. So if you unsubscribe a user, they stay in your organization. All of their saved generations are still there. The only limitation is they're put onto the equivalent of the TeacherMatic free plan. So we're in the process of rethinking our free plan, but at present they would get five generations a day for a week or 2 weeks after they're unsubscribed, and then they'll get 1 generation a day. But besides that, everything will be okay. And while we're on this page, I guess the last thing is to show you this invite by email functionality. So this is where we would invite someone to our organization who perhaps they have a Gmail account, or they're working within your organization, but they're external. You can invite them to your organization here. This will send an invite email if they are if they don't yet have a TeacherMatic account. This will send them an invite, inviting them to register. If they do already have a TeacherMatic account, this will then pull them into the organization. Okay. The only other thing on this page that might be worth mentioning is integrations. So you can read about our integrations it's obviously not in our footer. TeacherMatic.com/integrations. We've recently updated this page to include details on absolutely all of the integrations available. And setting up those various integrations often requires something from this integrations tab. So only you as organization admins have access to this. And if you want to set up LTI, you need this information. Equally, if you want to set up the Moodle web service, you'll need the information in this tab. Okay, if we head over to the Generates page, this is where the kind of last of the organization functionality, administration functionality lives. So as an organization admin, you should see this pencil icon at the top right. And if you click that, a couple of additional icons appear on each tile. So this is where you can, for example, if your organization has policies against using AI for marking and feedback, you can come in here and use this icon to hide, for example, the advanced feedback generator from your organization. Equally, you can click this icon, which will add that generator to all of your users' favorites page. So all of your users will see their own favorited generators up at the top. I haven't got any. And then below that, they'll see this popular in your organization section with all of the generators that you've decided to put in. Something else to note is that in TeacherMatic, you can save and share generations. That is only available, sharing generations is only available to organization users, and you can only share within your organization. So if I generate something, if I save this result, and then view save generations, I can then click share, and I see all of the users within my organization. So all of this functionality is still available if a user has been unsubscribed. The only limitation is the number of generations they get every day. Okay, in terms of what's available within TeacherMatic, I think that's more or less it. So bear with me, I'll share the presentation. Okay, so please let me know if you have any questions about any of this. But just to cover organization settings, so we had a look at the dashboard, turning MFA on or off for your organization, how to have users automatically subscribed and ethical filtering. And then we looked at how you can allocate and deallocate users, as well as how you can invite them. And just to mention some new and upcoming functionality. So I briefly showed you the active users report available in TeacherMatic. But then there's a really exciting new feature which is coming out over the next couple of months. And that's to address a concern lots of organizations have about using AI for marking and feedback. This will allow you as organization admins to control the extent of which humans are required in the marking process. So how many edits need to be made on, for example, an annotated PDF. And you can also get teachers to accept or acknowledge some organization policy before they can download and use any of that feedback. And that's it. I'll pass over to my colleague Isam, and then we'll open the floor to questions.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, those are some, I think I'm really excited with the individual usage report, which was really requested by lots of, organizations. So thank you very much, Ollie, for that. So in this part of the presentation, I want to focus on something slightly different. What I'm going to talk to you about is how you can support staff in adopting TeacherMatic across your institution. So we know that before introducing a platform, the real impact happens when staff feel confident using it and when it becomes part of their day-to-day practice and professional development. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through some of the training resources, CPD opportunities, and support that we provide. Also share a few practical strategies that you can use to embed TeacherMatic successfully. So before we look at the specific resources that we provide, I think it's worth recognizing the important role many of you play within your organization. Whether you're an administrator, digital lead, or champion, you often act as the bridge between the platform and the classroom. So introducing new technologies like AI can, at times feel very daunting for staff. So one of the most valuable things you can do is create an environment where people feel comfortable exploring and learning and making mistakes, of course. So this means encouraging experimentation, sharing good practice, and helping colleagues see how these tools can genuinely support their teaching, learning, and assessment. So it's about modeling responsible and effective use of AI, ensuring that it's used thoughtfully thoughtfully to enhance teaching and learning. And when that culture of confidence and collaboration develops, this is when platforms like TeacherMatic really start to make a difference across the organization. As we all know, AI in education is evolving incredibly quickly. I think we all have whiplash from it. And TeacherMatic has been evolving alongside the sector. When we first launched, which was about 3 years ago, we only had about 15 generators designed to support teachers with planning and assessment. Today, the platform has over 150 generators, and many of these have been developed directly in response to feedback from our community. And this is something really, really important to us. TeacherMatic has always been developed in partnership with the education community. As teachers share how they are using the platform, that feedback helps us shape new generators and new features. Because of that, ongoing professional development becomes really important so that staff can continue discovering new ways to use the platform. This is why we provide a range of CPD resources, training sessions, and community events, all designed to fit around the busy schedules of educators. I think the first and most important step is our Getting Started with TeacherMatic course. You can access it by going to teachermatic.com/course. And this course is designed to give staff a quick, when I say quick, it's about 2 to 3 hours, a quick but practical introduction to the platform. So it includes how to navigate TeacherMatic, how generators work, examples of classroom use, and responsible AI practices. So many institutions simply ask all users, all new users, to complete this as their baseline training. As I said, it'll take about 2.5 hours in total, and the course is broken into short videos so it fits into busy schedules. For many colleges, this becomes the foundation of their AI CPD strategy. Let me show you what this page looks like. So if you simply go to the teachermatic.com website and just go to resources, under the resources navigation link, you'll see it right there, Getting Started with TeacherMatic. We have a comprehensive landing page for the course. If you scroll down, it'll tell you all the modules that are within the course. You also get awarded a digital certificate once you complete the course successfully. What that essentially means is you'll probably need to successfully complete 70% of the formative assessment on the course. So that's the Getting Started with TeacherMatic course, a free self-paced online course. All you do is click on register for free access, fill this out, and you'll get access to the course on the Avalane VLE, the virtual learning environment, which is Magnet and Author. Okay, so that's that. We also provide a rollout guide, which is designed specifically for institutions implementing the platform across staff. Okay, so this guide looks at things like how to structure adoption, how to engage staff who may be cautious about AI, how to identify champions within departments, how to communicate updates and good practice, and how to integrate TeacherMatic into your CPD program. So many colleges use this guide to help structure their AI adoption strategy, particularly when introducing the platform across large staff teams. And you can access the rollout guide exactly from the same place that I showed you how to access the course. You go to resources, go all the way down to rollout strategy guide, click there, another form that you fill out, and then you'll get access to this rollout strategy guide, which is based on the ADKAR change management model, which essentially stands for awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and R for reward, reinforcement, and recognition. So that's it's a very useful strategy guide that you can really use when introducing any piece of technology in the organization. So another really simple, but I think very effective way to keep staff engaged is the TeacherMatic newsletter. And this provides tips and practical classroom ideas, announcements of new generators, invitations to webinars and training events, and sometimes success stories from other educators. So highly encourage you to get your staff to subscribe to this TeacherMatic newsletter, and you'll get it on a monthly basis. And you can access that also from the website. You can go to resources and then just click on join the newsletter. So highly encourage everyone to sign up to this newsletter here and get all the staff to do it. Also, one of the most effective ways staff build confidence with TeacherMatic is through our live sessions and deep dives. We regularly deliver webinars where we demonstrate specific generators, explore practical teaching applications, and answer questions from educators. So they're all designed to be very, very practical. Staff can see how other teachers are using the platform, and they often pick up ideas that they can apply immediately in their own classrooms. All the sessions are recorded and published on our YouTube channel. So highly also encourage you to go and subscribe to that YouTube channel. It's very easy. Just go to youtube.com/@TeacherMatic. So from an admin perspective, it's a simple but effective strategy to share upcoming sessions in staff updates or newsletters, and then post the recordings in your Teams or SharePoint TeacherMatic space, or the equivalent, of course. All right, and this really does keep TeacherMatic visible and encourages ongoing professional learning. Okay, so introducing a platform is one thing. Sustaining adoption, we know, is something different. So what we've seen is that the institutions that see the greatest impact from TeacherMatic tend to do a few simple things consistently. They keep the platform visible within staff culture. For example, we've seen colleges create a dedicated SharePoint page where they host the Getting Started with TeacherMatic course, webinar recordings, useful guides, linked to new resources. Others create a TeacherMatic Microsoft Team or the equivalent, where staff can ask questions, share outputs, exchange ideas, and post useful resources. And importantly, they encourage staff to participate in our deep dives, community webinars, and training sessions. And this helps educators continue developing their confidence with the platform. So when TeacherMatic becomes part of an institution's ongoing professional development, this is where we see the real impact, there, where real impact begins to happen. So to summarize, if you are leading the TeacherMatic adoption in your institution, there are 5 simple things that can make a big difference. First, make sure staff complete this Getting Started with TeacherMatic course, which provides the baseline training. Second, create a TeacherMatic resource page in SharePoint or the equivalent, where you can place key links and materials. Third, consider creating a Microsoft Teams space where staff can share ideas and ask questions. Fourth, regularly promote our deep dive webinars, our other training webinars and recordings, which will help staff develop their confidence with the platform. And finally, use the TeacherMatic Rollout Guide to help structure your adoption strategy. And these small steps can help ensure TeacherMatic becomes part of your ongoing professional development culture rather than just another tool. And with that, I hand back to Ollie. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Isam. I guess, shall we open up the conversation to anyone here? If you have any difficulties with administration or onboarding users to TeacherMatic, please feel free to speak up.